The Lagos state government has commenced the removal of illegal developments and defective structures at a trade fair complex in Ojo local government area of the state. The demolition is coming after the Lagos Commissioner for Environment and Water Resources, Tokunbo Wahab, cited illegal construction on floodplains and refuse dumping as contributing factors to the Lagos floods. The operation is set to target structures without statutory approvals and those built on road setbacks and drainage channels in violation of planning regulations. Let's take a look at this.
Is the trade fair complex. You understand? We're going to preserve the trade fair complex, which is this, which is why we're this one. All these buildings. This is the trade fair complex.
Oh, this is so sad. Livelihoods, people's property. We know multiple government agencies are involved in this exercise, including the Ministry of Physical Planning, Lagos State Building Control Agency, Lagos State Urban Renewal Agency, and the Lagos State Fiscal Planning Permit Authority. Rufia, I'll take this tweet and then I'll come to you. Yemi wrote on X, I think Jide Sanwo-Olu, that's the Lagos State Governor, needs to urgently restructure the Ministry of Physical Urban Planning. They seem overwhelmed and lack capacity. How do whole estates and markets get fully built before anyone realizes they are illegal? That's a system failure, and I agree with that.
And that's a system failure. And in fact, the interesting thing about this story is Joe Igbokwe even sounded off about it. In fact, he made a message out that's making the rounds as talking about him being a patron of Aspana International Market and Trade for him, Peter Obi, and the late Senator Efrain. And he says, you see, yes, I know you must be able to clear drainage channels. We don't want flooding and all of that. People should not build illegally. But what were the authorities looking at when those buildings were going up? The buildings will now go up, you will now destroy them, destroy people's livelihood. Do you know in the plaza, Oji, I hear of people that are losing their sanity as regards the fire that happened around the plaza on the Lagos Island. Some people will never be able to recoup their lives from all of that. Now you are damaging buildings, a lot of investments. That's why people are already putting a lot of ethnic dimension into it. I don't want people to put ethnic dimension into it, but it's very sad because these traders are from a certain part of the country and these buildings were approved before they built, and now you are pulling it down. And it's a recurring decimal. And at the same time, you're having people illegally building on wetlands in Lagos and filling wetlands. Anyway, concerning that, about 7 days ago, the Lagos state government has said people should stop some filling of wetlands. But the question is, we all know those were wetlands before now. Who gave the authorization to be able to fill those wetlands to build luxury property on them in the first place? Because all of this, I'm not saying is solely the factor, but all of this ties into what is happening in Lagos. And that's why Gbadebo Roosevelt was raising a very strong point. Because wetlands, as they are supposed to be egress for water. There are many wetlands that have been built on. Tell people, Oji, to tell you the history of this same, what is it called, this estate, Parkview today. It was supposed to be one of the biggest wetlands in these areas, in these areas of the island. But it's been built on today. And that's why what happened in Parkview happened.
Yes.
Around where we have to be dolphin today. Have you ever wondered why that place was called Dolphin Estate? Because you used to have school of dolphins move through that waterways, but everything has been blocked because of all they want to do expansion and make money. So
please,
and hope the property is demolished. People will actually get some level of help or compensation of some sort.
I mean, because
they're destroying livelihoods.
Yeah,
and this is the same Lagos you're saying is fit for investment.
I was going to say, lots of people actually, especially Nigerians in diaspora, are saying that they're reluctant to invest because of what they're seeing being reported. Whereby you can wake up one morning and your investment has been demolished.
Yes, this is unfair. Like I said, you know, all of those ministries are involved in this demolition. What was happening? What was the process? This is the same question we ask every time time we take a demolition story, yesterday, Rufia, you weren't here, we also talked about the fact that, people are in Lekki are complaining that maybe the coastal highway is causing the flooding, and that's the sort of investigation that we need to hear. Because they're saying that the coastal highway lacks drainage, but we know that the Minister of Works, Dave Umahi, has said that it does have the coastal highway has 750 kilometers of drainage with it.
In fact, there's a particular street, and I'm sure the minister knows about the street, because the prominent Nigerian stays on that street in Via. There's a particular street that once the coastal highway was made, they blocked a part of the egress of water. Right. And the street started flooding until we had to call the environment. I mean, we had to liaise with people in the environmental department to be able to open it up so that you can channel the water away. So it's pushed a lot of water also. And that's why we should also be careful. Yes, we want development and all of that. And that's why when we're asking for the environmental impact assessments, these are the things we're asking. Some people say we don't want that. No, I want what's it called, development to come. We want infrastructure, but things need to be done properly.
All right, well said, well said. We will continue to follow up on this story in our ECHO. Every day I'll keep saying, ECHO need budget, please. Well, let's head over to Katsina State now, where terrorist leaders this week held peace meetings in 2 local government areas of the state with local authorities and community stakeholders pledging their commitment to cease hostilities and promote stability under the federal government's Operation Safe Corridor initiative. The meetings held in Sabuwa and Matazu local government areas included LGA chairmen, state assembly members, and a number of prominent terrorist leaders. According to reports, the discussions focused on reconciliation and a cessation of hostilities. Both parties gave assurances that they would work towards lasting peace, and local authorities announced that consultations will continue to consolidate the process. While speaking at the peace talk, one of the terrorist leaders, Kachala Umaru, warned security operatives against the kinetic approach to insecurity, stating, if today you kill 10 bandits, tomorrow you'll see 20. You kill 20, another 30 will rise. Umaru claimed that killing them only worsens the situation and accused the government of prioritizing money generation over the people's welfare. He also called for mutual cooperation and respect for any terms of agreement between the terrorists and security agencies, warning that the peace talks would be meaningless if security operatives are not told to leave them alone. Well, we know this news has ignited public debate over the contrasting government responses to these terrorists and the case of detained IPOB leader Nnamdi Kanu, who remains in custody of the Department of State Services while facing trial on terrorism-related charges, despite the 2022 Court of Appeal ruling that discharged and acquitted him. We also have reports, and we know that the DSS, under the current Director General, Adiola Ajayi, has been accelerating trials, including the trial of Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the indigenous peoples of Biafra. Today, he was seen arriving at the courtroom for the ruling on his no-case submission at the Federal High Court in Abuja. Rufai, like I highlighted in my report here about, this story that had been trending all week about these terrorists in Katsina negotiating and warning security operatives not to use the kinetic approach. And, you juxtapose it with the detention of the leader of the indigenous peoples of Biafra. You'd see this disparity. Where is the fairness? These are the conversations that have been had so far.
There's a lot of unfairness in this country, and some people rank higher than some. Not to say the DSS have not prosecuted some terrorists, of extractions of the North here, but when you openly see people negotiating and bandits doing all sorts what they do, and you see people like Nnamdi Kanu, that, by the way, is in the hospital now because they had to push until they got him to the hospital because of his ill health, and you're wondering what is going on. Prior to President Buhari leaving office, some Igbo leaders went for a political solution. Somebody would have thought that the likes of President Buhari would have prevailed upon that. But nothing happened. President Tinubu is in there now. A lot of people have been talking about a political solution. To no avail. Nnamdi Kanu has come out to constantly condemn the evils going on in this southeastern part of the country. Then at the same time, you see bandits carrying their guns or their AK-47s or their machinery and coming out and even threatening the military. And local government officials are meeting with them. I mean, this is the imbalance we talk about. So please, if the government wants to redeem itself, we need to see those bandits that are being brought to book.
Yes.
Because it looks as though they have permeated into the ecosystem. It looks like they are stakeholders in society. Look at them, they are stakeholders. They even have uniform. And after, when they hold the bandit, the next day they will sew Ashwebi for them. They will say they are rehabilitating the lives of bandits. I mean...
Yeah. Well, all right, this is the conversation that is out there now, and I thought it was important to bring it out there for the federal government's response to these concerns about, even the people from the north and the people in the southeast and the agitation for the release of Nnamdi Kanu. I believe I also saw a report from the governor of Abia State, Alex Oti, talking about the fact that all southeast governors are, pushing for his release at this moment.